individually. I'll recall that majority of the parties met with the ANC last Sunday. There was an indication that they are going to send a document that gives guidelines as to the GNU, the principles, the minimum program, and the modalities regarding how the GNU is going to operate. From Sunday up until now, the ANC has never come back to these parties in order to fully discuss, so that all of those discussions, they reach finality. Now, what we have now is the ANC approaching parties individually. Now, they've created an impression to the citizens that they want everyone, all parties to be involved. But what they are doing practically is that they are having a coalition with their own parties, which they've included, and the deals they've already included. I'm sure you'll recall that during the week, Tony Leon of the DA did allude that the discussions with the ANC are in the final stages, whereas with the parties that are in this table, they are not even in the final stages because they were not included in terms of bringing those documents that are basically the guidelines as to what are the modalities of the GNU. So we thought, as these parties, let us come speak to the nation, advise the nation that the ANC is misleading the nation when it's saying it is a GNU. It is not a government of national unity, because if it's a government of national unity, all parties would have been equally consulted. There would have been equal understanding to all of the parties. What we see is that it is a coalition with certain parties, but under the disguise of a GNU, and the other parties which do not agree with some of the programs or some of the suggestions by the ANC have been excluded. So that is why we thought we need to speak to the nation. This morning, the ANC sent the guideline document to Jama-Ah individually, and other parties which were part of the initial discussions with the ANC have never received that particular document. Again, which clearly shows that the intention of the ANC, it is not to have a GNU that is inclusive of all 18 political parties, but their intention is to get into a coalition with their preferred coalition partners. So I think we can just give it to the leaders to also state from their point of view. Otherwise, the intention of this media briefing, it is to just make the South African citizens know there is no GNU in our country. We've got a coalition of the party that got 40% with their preferred coalition partners. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what we'll do, let's give each party an opportunity to say something, then we'll take some questions after each party has said something. Let's start with the UDM. General, do you have a mic here?
Is it necessary that we must all speak? So, from our side, we feel that we must be given an opportunity once more to look into this document which has been circulated this morning, and in line with our resolution of yesterday evening. From now on, we will want to negotiate a block representing this forum. So the ball is in the ANC's court to respond to our request to meet them. We will address the rest after they have formally responded to our letter. Thank you.
The President of UAT. We do have an extra mic here. I'll take this one.
Good morning again. As you all heard last night, that the Secretary of the ANC indicated that they will be speaking to the UAT. I can confirm they haven't spoken to us. And even if they wanted to speak to us, we wouldn't speak to them as an individual or as a UAT. We'll speak to them as collective. Because as collective, we are about 13%. It's a fact that the ANC are 40%, they need 11. And we have 13 here. If they were really progressive and respect the programs of Africans, they would definitely give us an ear. because there is no way we can reverse our gains by voting with the DA and others. So this is our position. We're waiting for them as collective, not as unity.
Thank you. And then the President for PAC.
Thank you. As PAC, we insist that the ANC must meet with us as these parties. They must not talk to us as individuals. Anyway, ANC called me yesterday and they said after 5 we'll share a statement with you before we publish it. And I said, okay, I'll wait till now. That was before parties met here. They did not share that statement. So they must meet with us. We don't have a problem with Government of National Unity, but the Government of National Unity must involve everybody, as the name suggests. As an overcopy, them championing the ANC in the DA.
Thank you very much, Khani Vendrix from Al Jama-Ah. When we had our negotiations with the ANC, we made it clear that the voters gave the ANC a mandate to form a minority government, and that it was easy for them to get the other 10% from other progressive parties. So Al Jama-Ah is part of the progressive caucus which we formed last night, and the Government of National Unity, as you know, we first had a moonshot PAC and then they changed the name, and now it is called Government of National Unity. It's all the same thing. So you can't criticize without coming up with an alternative. So we have a progressive caucus, and we hope that the ANC will join this progressive caucus. And we may have a new name called a National Front. And the National Front is to make sure that those rooted in apartheid principles do not govern. We are very concerned that at this stage, our take is that the ANC want to run the executive, and they want to give the Democratic Alliance and their allies to run Parliament. That cannot be. Yes, I did receive the draft only this morning. I haven't had a chance to read it. There's a draft of principles that will govern the Government of National Unity. And I managed just to pick up one clause about sufficient consensus. Last night when we met as the Progressive Caucus, we looked at other alternatives to a sufficient consensus. I think we have written to the ANC to meet, and I hope they will meet us later this morning before we start with the proceedings to elect a speaker.
Thank you. And then the Deputy President.
No, thank you very much. We as the Economic Freedom Fighters also want to confirm that we are part of the Progressive Caucus here in the 7th Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. And we collectively are now talking to all the forces to say that let's constitute a progressive government in South Africa instead of collaboration with political parties that, as the Al Jama-Ah president is saying, are rooted in colonialism and apartheid and are about protection of white minority interests and privileges. So we have, of course, returned collectively to the African National Congress to say, well, we should negotiate as a collective, not as individual parties, because they have met us individually and they made a commitment that before Parliament elects the presiding officers and a president, they are going to come back to us individually. And it appears that they have not come back to all of us to say as to what is to be done, how do we proceed moving forward. Our offer still stands that we can constitute the Parliament and elect presiding officers and also elect a president as long as we exclude these other forces that represents colonialism and apartheid. And that is our position that we are consolidating and that we're going to negotiate together in terms of how we deal with this question. There seems to be no clarity from their side in terms of what it is. So we wanted to, of course, inform the people of South Africa that the progressive forces are presenting a solid option and alternative as to how we move forward. And the ANC will decide what they want to do. They want to continue with their grand coalition with the Moonshot Pact. They want to join the Moonshot Pact, let them go ahead. There will be, of course, consequences. If they want to go ahead with the Moonshot Pact, they can go ahead and do it. But otherwise, the progressive forces are here and ready to constitute a progressive parliament and government that is comprised of all progressive forces. That is where we stand. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's take a round of questions.